Hello book lovers and welcome to yet another late wrap up. This time it's all about November 2015. My first read was Ende's The Neverending Story, which was also one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. And how could I not love it? Bastian escapes reality upon reading a book called The Neverending Story and is transported to the magical land of Fantastica, makes his first best friend, rides a white luck dragon, fights evil and becomes a famed warrior, when somewhere along the way he starts losing his human memories. But that is another story and shall be told another time. Up next, Coetzee's Man Booker Prize winning novel Disgrace, which is set in South Africa and tells the story of English professor David Lurie, whose fall from grace is spectacular. Job gone, reputation gone, love life gone. His only solace in this situation is his daughter, but after a brief time spent at her farm, things go terribly, terribly wrong. The situations described in this book are appalling, and the main character is a major douche, but I couldn't stop reading it. And that's why I will gladly read another Coetzee novel. My third read of the month was Gabrielle Zevin's The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, which was as delightful as everyone claimed it would be. It's the story of A.J. Fikry, a young widower who owns Island Books, a bookstore on the remote Alice Island in the US. After the loss of his wife, sales are deteriorating, he drinks too much, has terrible eating habits, and on top of that, his precious collection of rare poems by Edgar Allan Poe gets stolen. But fate has a few more surprises in store for Mr. Fikry. This is one of the novels that will melt your heart and leave you feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. Next up was Sally Gardner's Tinder, which was inspired by the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, The Tinderbox, a story about wolves, magic, witches, a beautiful princess, love, and of course death. The dark and creepy illustrations were a perfect match to the captivating story. I then picked up 2015's Man Booker Prize winning novel, A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James, which was a beast. The story is based on the attempted assassination of Bob Marley in 1976 and spans for 3 decades. There's dozens of characters, dozens of storylines, and if this sounds intimidating, I'm here to tell you that it is. But it all makes sense in the end, where everything comes together. Definitely not an easy read, definitely brutal and violent, but also pretty amazing. After the massiveness of my previous read, I wanted something tiny and fun. Walt Whitman's selection of poems On the Beach at Night Alone pleasantly surprised me, and Johann Hebel's tiny tales on how a ghastly story was brought to life by a common or garden butcher's dog were incredibly witty and amusing. Moving on to another fantastic read, George Eliot's classic Silas Marner. When young Silas is wrongfully accused of a crime he did not commit, he is forced to leave his home and life behind and move to a faraway village where he lives like a recluse. All he does is work all day and count his money every night, but when someone steals his hard-earned fortune, things take an unexpected turn and Silas's life is altered completely. This was a wonderful, heartwarming story that I highly recommend. Up next was John O'Hara's modern classic BUtterfield 8. The story is set in 1930s New York, where Gloria, a sexually liberated young woman, has an affair with a wealthy, married man who's bad news. The characters are unlikable, but the story is engrossing, the writing is vibrant, and even though I was anticipating the tragic ending, I was completely devastated when it occurred. My last read was Ceridwen Dovey's Only the Animals, a collection of stories from the point of view of 10 different animals, from cats and dogs to dolphins and mussels. Colette, Himmler and Tolstoy, these unique animal memoirs are humorous, at sometimes uncomfortable, while other times grim and heartbreaking. It's beautifully written, incredibly imaginative, and worth your reading time. That was the end of it. Thank you for watching and see you soon.